Grassland habitats are one of the most common habitats in the UK and Devon. Thousands of years of human activity have gradually deforested the landscape to create huge swathes of grassland. Before the intensification of agriculture in the 1930s, many of these grasslands were species rich, supporting a wide variety of insects and other wildlife. However, since 1930, the UK has lost a staggering 97% of its species-rich wildflower meadows. These have been replaced with species-poor grasslands, which are usually used by grazing livestock. Species-poor grasslands, shown here on the outskirts of Exeter, usually comprise between 5 and 15 species of grasses and flowers. By comparison, species-rich meadows can comprise over 140 species. This film will focus on the various types of meadow, from species-poor and improved and semi-improved grassland, all the way to the species-rich lowland meadows and Culm Grassland. The first thing we should probably do here is define what a meadow actually is. A meadow is an area of grassland with wildflowers also usually present. They can be found in all sorts of places: cities, boggy wetlands, woodland glades, and on agricultural farmland. Most of the grasslands you see when walking around the countryside are species-poor grassland, usually dominated by a few grasses. In ecology, we call this an improved or modified grassland. This field on the edge of Exeter fits that definition perfectly. The grassland is dominated by one species, perennial ryegrass, which gives itself away by the reflective, shiny nature of the blades. This species-poor seed mixture has been sown because the grasses within it are extremely palatable to livestock, making it ideal for grazing animals. However, if you know where to look, there are some much richer meadows close by. Exeter has several flower-rich meadows. Most of these are owned and managed by Devon Wildlife Trust, and as soon as you walk through the gates of these reserves, it's immediately apparent how much more species-rich they are in comparison to the surrounding farmland. The long grasses and abundance of wildflowers support a large number of insects, including butterflies, damselflies, beetles, and many more. Many of these flower-rich meadows are located in the hills on the outskirts of the city, meaning that if you're up for a short hike, there are spectacular views across the city and down to the ocean. In the warm thermal currents, buzzards can be seen spiralling upwards into the sky. On a hot, sunny day like this, butterflies can be seen skipping over the grasses, looking for flowers to nectar on. These marbled whites are very active in the hot sun. Eventually, one settles to feed on a bramble flower. As you walk through the reserves, a curious cracking noise can be heard. This is the sound of a gorse seed pod exploding, sending its seeds up to 3 meters away. The hot sun dries out the pods, and as they warp, they burst and release their seeds into the air. Whilst the meadows on the outskirts of Exeter are much richer than the surrounding farmland, they still wouldn't be classified as species-rich meadows. If you're prepared to venture out a little further, a truly species-rich meadow can be found about 25 minutes out of the city. A short walk through the adjacent heathland takes you into the heart of this amazing meadow. The meadow is absolutely teeming with life. Insects of every colour and variety flourish in this species-rich grassland. Common spotted orchids are found in large numbers, and the diversity of colour in the meadow is a sight to behold. One group of insects that are particularly species-rich here are the butterflies. Over 30 species have been recorded on the reserve, and on a sunny day you can sit and watch them flutter around the meadow for hours on end. This small pearl-bordered fritillary is nectaring on bird's foot trefoil. If you keep your eyes peeled, you might even see a slow worm slither through the undergrowth. The meadow is an incredible place to spend an afternoon. But if you're prepared to wait until the darkness descends, the meadow becomes even more magical. At night, the meadow presents a whole new experience. Bats can be seen foraging around the edges of the meadows as they hunt down the insects. As you lie back and watch the bats streak across the star-strewn sky, the churring sounds of nightjars can be heard from the adjacent heathland.
Is that a nightjar?
As the night deepens, it's easy to get distracted by the stars glittering overhead. If you cast your eyes downwards, you might even get to see an ethereal light shining much closer to home. Glowworms are one of the few bioluminescent creatures native to the UK. They are actually beetles, and in the summer, the females climb up the grasses and light up their bodies to attract the males. This female looks to have snared herself a partner. They spend their first 2 to 3 years as predatory larvae, feeding on a diet of slugs and snails. Once they've matured into adults, they stop eating altogether and only live for a few short weeks, in which time they must mate and lay their eggs before they starve. Their faint green glow has enchanted the British countryside for generations, with William Wordsworth calling them earth-born stars. The final type of grassland we'll look at in this film is unimproved grassland. Unimproved grasslands are areas that have never been ploughed, reseeded or heavily fertilised, and they develop over long periods, centuries in some cases. Sustained grazing or hay cutting means unimproved grassland supports a wide range of associated plants with over 17 species per metre squared. This grassland is located in Dartmoor National Park, and it's a beautiful example of a species-rich, unimproved grassland. Wildflowers are abundant, with knapweed, oxer daisy, cat's ear, self-peel, red clover and yellow rattle all present. With the flowers come the insects, who are keen to hoover up all that tantalising nectar. Orchids are also common here, with greater butterfly orchids numbering thousands. Sadly, unimproved grassland is now a rare habitat in Devon and across the UK. However, there is another area of unimproved grassland on the Devon-Cornwall border, and it's even more special. This is Culm Grassland. It's a habitat of international conservation importance and is only found in southwest Britain. It's a predominantly wet, boggy habitat comprising purple moorgrass, rushes and a variety of wildflowers including common and heath-spotted orchid. Since 1980, the extent of Culm Grassland has declined by over 50% due to the intensification of agriculture and the draining of wetlands. It now only exists in isolated fragments. This nature reserve is the largest remaining fragment of Culm Grassland, but the reserve is a mix of Culm Grassland, wet woodland and watercourses, a perfect haven for wildlife. However, there is one specific species that this reserve is famous for. Marsh fritillary butterflies are arguably one of our most beautiful fritillary species, but they're also a threatened species, not only in the UK but also in mainland Europe. Their distribution has reduced by 79% since the 1970s, and they are now confined to southwest England and Wales and west of Scotland. This reserve is one of their last strongholds, and as you can see, they are breeding here. However, the reserve is also home to many other butterfly species, such as common blue, speckled wood, meadow brown, and large white. If you find yourself near the car park, you'll also find another treasure in this incredible reserve. Devon's Coronation Meadow. As part of the Queen's Golden Jubilee, every county created a meadow, and this is where Devon's can be found. In May, the meadow is awash with colour. Common blue butterflies flutter in every direction, and birds-foot trefoil, early marsh orchid, yellow rattle, buttercups, and oxeye daisy carpet the meadow. For more information about how you can restore, enhance and create meadows like this, visit charities such as Devon Wildlife Trust, More Meadows and Plant Life. They have excellent online resources on how you can help with the effort to restore meadows to their former glory. Links to all these charities can be found in the video description below.